wake up, God damn it. Welcome to MARKETcast with Unk and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Uh, Really good. Just kind of crazy out of the gate with that Hawaiian Electric up like 40% market. Didn't of course get a chance to position. I kind of grabbed some Friday, but yeah, that was good. And then late in the week, some reads really paid off for me. Big story was oil though. I've been in that for several weeks and got uh, got a nice payoff there. Devon under 50 and Oxy off my pivots, couple smaller ones. So yeah, it was good. Really kind of uneven conditions, a lot of fragmentation within sectors. Some dropping off pretty hard. Um, Semiconductor pullback is something I saw that we talked about. So um, just kind of happy with the quality of the reads and still trading a little smaller with these conditions, but yeah, I did well. It's a good week.
Nice, nice. I didn't get the HE, and I definitely when I woke up it was a little bit too. The move that we had anticipated had already happened. So um,
Yeah.
at least on the share side. I mean, I'm sure options were fun that day for that, but so I didn't get none of that, but I sure did get a good quarter round for that weed plays.
Yeah.
um, we did good over there, but I was sitting on those charts, and since Tilray's had news, um, I've kind of sat on all the other ones as well. So those were pretty easy to just grab a piece of and get in and out. Um, Other than that, it's been more of a not a scalp week, but just a don't be greedy. Um, I wasn't trusting it until about Thursday, and tea time was already made for Thursday. So I had fun
Yeah.
Friday, and yeah, it was good. I think my best well, one of my better wins outside of the weeds plays was Fubo. I was a little early on that, and it's nice to see it come up on your list this week. So we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah.
But in the whole sector. But I'm with you on the and I think this is kind of where we shine a little bit is on the sector fragmentation because it's hard to find the one. I didn't play
Yeah.
it, but man, AMD worked out. Um, our level is strong and it was hanging out there, and you're just gonna still get relief if you're on the right side of things. So yeah,
Yeah, no, so and I was so AVGO, we've been talking about the downside with that one for a while, and the day of earnings, I was talking about how it looked bearish, and it went up 3% that day, but then it gave it all back and then
mhm.
some the next day. And so that kind of just shows that the flow read is there, but it's still actually really easy to mistime something like that, even if you're you're just doing the option side. And if you're not buying yourself some time, if you're trying it with weeklies, you can have bearish flow, and it's gonna, it can take off that kind of earnings run up, and then once it happens, the IV's too crazy really to play it through earnings. So it that next day, the aftermath, where where that's really where you want to be. You want that is like, if it's bearish, you want a little bit of a pre-market recovery, and then you can trade the downside. Amba did the other thing where all of its move was after hours. There really wasn't a short trade after that, and it kind of came back. So it just really highlights that it's that timing with options. Even if you got a good sense of the direction, you still got to be really careful about when you get in and when you get out. And I think that really gets a lot of people. So something I try to be precise about in my notes, and that kind of pattern is going to continue going forward.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. On the share side, about middle of the month, I figured out that you'd probably want to be on the other side of ER because it's going to show you
Yeah.
range and then probably work back through it if the report's decent. But there's just the pop and fade is still here, even though we're I guess broadening or widening out in the sectors. Um,
Right.
so like that's why I said I'm still scalp. Like I'm still. I mean, we had a great. The market was amazing. If you go off my 4 to 6 week thesis, um, it's looking like it was 4 weeks. Of the
Yeah.
downside. But in a from a trading standpoint, you can't just like completely pivot off your overall thesis and the support being built or the flat part of the stairs, however I've put it. I mean that could happen for a couple months, and it probably will in some things, and that is the broadening. So just taking your money right now in the range that is offered, um, I don't think there's a better trading environment, to be honest. It's just really easy to get in and out of stuff right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how that works on the option side because it's obviously a different, um, what do you want to call it? There's a different volume pool, right? You guys have obviously a lot less volume, but it's just a different. Some shares, stocks trade with a lot of shares and very little on the option side, and some have like no shares, but the options very heavily traded. So, figuring that out, but on the share side, I'm telling you, it's been real easy to get fills, get in and out of trades, get that 20-40 cent range on the small guys. Um, Couple bucks on the teens in the 20s and stuff like that. It's been real easy lately. Um,
Yeah,
but
no, definitely. I think
we're not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
the right, yeah, there isn't a lot of like so MDB had a nice beat. It's just retracing where it just was. So we're
Exactly.
not breaking new ground. And so that kind of remains to be seen if it can get into the 420s um, and do that. I think the biggest problem I see that people have with options is so they want a small position because they want to lower their risk, which that makes sense. But then they treat that small position like it's the runner instead of just taking the 20-30% that you make in 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they'll see that happen, but they want 200% with it. And the only, with some exceptions, I mean the usually if I get something at 200% or more, it does happen, but it's like the last of four, right? So I already got out. I'm pretty much just out, and that last one doesn't matter. And those are the ones you can give some room and let go. But just trying to take your one contract and squeeze 200-300% out of it, very hard to stay consistent if that's what you're doing, especially in these kind of pop and fade conditions that we're
Oh,
talking about.
like buy one contract.
Yeah, they buy one contract, and sometimes they're kind of expensive. So,
Jesus.
$250, right? And they want it to be $700. They won't sell it at 320, and then it's 150. And then it's like, do I diamond hand this and keep it like that? That is very common in the option world. And the Twitter environment encourages that kind of trading by constantly emphasizing the multi-baggers. And you try to have one home run trade to make up for six losses. And that's very much not what we do. And my notes try to reflect kind of the more modest moves. You take money here, but some of our setups so good they take off and go crazy. Mara did that the other day, but I don't think that can't be your focus. You got to kind of have your bread and butter, and be a singles hitter and hit the occasional home run. That I think is the way to do it.
Mars one of those good examples of them teen stocks that you could get a couple bucks easy out of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I I probably should always just keep continuously saying stuff, even though I'm repeating it, because it feels like I've said it for years now. But I mean, I'm the treat it like a bill guy, right? Like buy some shares,
yeah,
treat it like a bill, go back to work. Just because you do need, I mean, it's a Pac was kind of talking about a little bit, but you do need a little bit of firepower, a little to play options. I mean, if you only have 5 grand and you're trying to do this, um, you need to have a lot of rules. You need to be really good. You need to be patient for sure. You can't just be like
yeah,
trading 3 trades a day. That's hard to do. It's just hard, especially I just and I don't say it enough, but starting with options probably not where you should start. But I get it. I mean, I
Right.
get it,
Yeah.
but that's part of it is searching for that 300-400% play. Um, right now, I think I'll say it more now than I will ever because I think you are and have missed out on some generational opportunity, but I think it's also still there. Especially if you're a young guy, like just put a grand or put 2 or 3 grand away right now, and just when you're 30, you'll thank me because you'll be like, "Oh, I got a new car. I got a car sitting there if I
Um,
wanted to." You know,
yeah, and this is where I mean some of the stuff we talk about Open or Fubo. I mean,
yes,
we're not just saying it that like this is going to end up 7, 8, 10, 12 bucks, or that I see it in the leaps. And that doesn't mean that you just have some big share position and never take profit on it or anything like that. But if you just start building some positions in some of these, cybersecurity has been a good example, and those are better companies, but where there's a 30, 40, 50% move or more on the share side that takes place over several months and goes through several earnings. And you're doing great. I mean, the snow ads that we had, um, Okta or DDog, I mean, like all these that you can actually just really start to build something there. And unlike options, they can just sit there in your account. You don't have to. You're not in a time crunch. It's just a company and a sector that is gonna do well long term, and you can park some money there.
yeah, especially if you're blowing 500 a month on DoorDash and 2 grand a month on option plays. I mean, if you're already doing that, just take half of
Yeah,
that and put it away in shares. And
take what you spend on DoorDash and just buy Dash stock
yeah,
with it.
exact. Yeah, or at least price match it, right? Like
Yeah,
every
yeah,
50 you spend on DoorDash, you got to buy a share or something like
yeah.
that. Like do something. But I just say it. I mean, I guess I speak from a biased experience opinion, and I'll say that a little bit. Like Nvidia did it for me. Um, like
Yeah.
a pretty major move from okay, this is just some play money. This is some real money. If I'd have kept that position, um, I'd have been up on it still, right? So like
Yeah.
I couldn't have timed it right, or you can't really time it right, but you can make a plan that works for you and your financial freedom and success, and you can stick with that goddamn thing. So
Yeah.
just start
Yeah.
there and try it out because I mean, it's another thing I say, and I probably should say more: invest in things you believe in or use, and just yeah, treat it like a fucking bill, and you'll be all right. And then you'll kind of, I mean, and then I wouldn't be surprised if people do that. They'll start playing options around that chart because they'll be invested in that chart, and they'll have to watch it because they'll be invested in it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
No. And then you get into the selling options, right?
yeah,
That is, can be really good. That's been good on X for me, with it up, up above 30, where it's kind of just waiting. And um, I think X probably could go 35 plus, but was just sort of waiting for the whole takeover, to shake out and all that. So it's kind of consolidating up here, but selling some short term calls on it. It's just a quick $50 here and there, but
whatever.
um, it's like everything about options that's bad works in your favor when you're selling them. All the time decay and all that stuff. So once you kind of know how options work, being on that side of it can be really good too.
One of those stupid Michael Burry people said, I don't know which one, Warren Buffett maybe, but only millionaire traders that trade options I know are selling them.
Yeah.
And it's probably statistically it's probably really slanted. I assume the but there's people that do the butterflies and the iron condors, and you can figure out your strategy as long as you have rules and you're not greedy and you can figure out what works. I mean, but if you need 200%, um, there's not much out there for you that's going to work. Just especially if you're
Yeah,
not
no,
willing
it's
to
that.
invest some time.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's that getting that consistency with those is hard. And that's where, when my notes, I feel like, I mean, I'm going to keep doing them, and they do well, but you can't look at those, wait for the move to happen, and then try to repeat it. You just get diminishing returns on that. Because what I'm seeing is the combination of, here's the flow going in, here's what happened in the pre-market, here's what's QQQ's doing, or whichever, and oil, or whatever, and it's like, okay, this is the setup for the first hour, or this is the setup once it comes down, hits this level. But then it's like afternoon, it's like 1:30, and it's like, okay, can I do this one again? I kind of don't know, because I'm already reading stuff for the next day at that point. And that's just my style. And that's, I try to get the trades finished up. Lately, in the morning, I like to be selling stuff I already have, because those have been doing well. But yeah, I'm already just putting in work for later that week or the next week or whatever. I want to get the trading kind of wrapped up early. So the timing on those notes matters a lot. And you can always ask me too. I'm around, but don't like see a setup work and then think you're just going to repeat that exact thing, because that's often not how it works on the option side.
No, and you got to figure out, all right, what are you again? And I think a lot of people just skip the flipping application. Are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader?
Yeah.
Are you a long-term swing trader? Well, are you a scalper? Are you a momentum trader?
Yeah.
Because that's a new thing. Momentum trading's there. It's what people do. I mean, what are you, a news trader? What are you doing over there, bud?
Yeah.
I mean, and then there's more to that. It's not just, oh, I'm a day trader. Okay. Well, then what kind of charts do you like? Like, are you a large cap guy? Are you a small cap guy? Are you looking for breakouts? Are you looking for charts that are continuation? Are you looking for charts that are on support? Are you more of a news play only? Are you just pure momentum? Again, you got to get all of that figured out. And it's what works for you. It's not what you want to do. Most kids want to pitch when they play baseball. Shit ain't happening.
Yeah.
Shit ain't happening.
Right.
If you're a fucking left fielder, figure it out. It's what it is.
Hey, my favorite player was Ken Griffey Jr. I was not a power hitting center fielder. Okay, I didn't have the arm, or can't hit like that. I was a second baseman. So,
bro, I'm
learned to love that.
I'm fucking left-handed. They would not let me play anywhere up the middle. They just wouldn't. They just wouldn't let me play second or short. And the third was real bad too. They wouldn't let me play there either. So it was outfield, because our first base, and I hated first base. So, and I'm a little fast, but so you gotta know what you're good at. You just gotta know what you're good at, and stay away from the bad stuff. I know you wanted to mention, and it's probably a good, not segue, but just why we're in here is like the we joke about it, but the starter being a bad word. And for me, like as a swing trader, it's like a pillar stone. It's like the concrete block you start the damn trade on. I don't know about from the option side how that works for you when you're day trading, but I mean, you have to. The opposite of a starter, and I haven't said this a lot. I used to say it to Viperfish a lot, but is planting your flag, right? That's the opposite of a starter position, is planting your flag. So like, just kind of curious why you brought that up in our morning meeting.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I'm pickier on share, like build share position than options, and I want to say that because I shares, I do tend to buy them kind of in share blocks, right? So the option is comparable to a smaller share starter, but HG is a good example. Late last week, I saw the flow coming in on that 12.50, 15, longer term. I went ahead and just bought the January calls, like 2 of them, on Friday, with the plans to then, scale into something share side. Well, it took off, and I didn't get a chance to do that, but I already have the options. I did the same thing with the crypto small caps. And my rationale for this, if you look at how options move, months out, if you're truly trying to be picky about, you know, $85 versus $100, $105, given I expect in the stock, those $10 or $15 mean to nothing to me because I know that like it might move around a bit there, but I just go ahead and get in, and in part it's because I do expect that bigger move, and in part for me, when I'm in something, it kind of keeps it on my radar, even really small position, give me a better idea of when I'm going to start, when to start scaling in. And then lastly, it's, I put in all this work studying these setups. I want a piece of that move. I want the work to pay off. And even if it's, $40 on some leap, um, then, for me is better than just watching it happen. But, I don't like to have a share position down 10, 15% or something like that. But if I have one leap and the flow's still there and it's down, 10, $20 or whatever, it doesn't really bother me. So that's why like I just go ahead and just get in. The being picky about the fill on a leap, a lot of times you're just never going to get in. But as shares, I think you can be more picky and scale in that way.
Nice. um, you know me, I'm gonna do some unk math for you. Sorry, but
Yeah.
big psychological guy. I've always been on that side. Like you gotta not mess with your psyche here, or you could lead to some bad decisions. So starter to me is, and if you're a share guy, I'd write this down, people. Um, Starter to me, my mental stop loss has always been like 300, right in that range. I mean, it
Yeah.
fluctuates a little bit, but when it starts losing over $300, I start not liking stuff. So when I take a starter, I want like at minimum the level of support or where I could see it going to. Like if this thing has a breakdown, is only 150 bucks. That way it's a starter. It's not the whole trade. That way I can re-enter down there in the blood zone and then play the range back. Maybe even with some size if we can just play the range back. Um, but just so I can sit on it,
Yeah.
so I can sit on the starter, so I'm not micromanaging the starter. That's pretty much how much I'll buy into a starting position. Um, it's so if it falls apart, I'm about halfway to my oh shit level in my head on the money. And everyone should be different on that. That's why I don't lay out the financial part of it a lot of the time, is because
Yeah.
that might be a lot to you. That might not be shit to you. I mean, I know when Jack was in here, he's like, "That's it." It's like, yeah,
Yeah. 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 I know, right?
you gotta be kind of careful with your stuff. But it's just where it works for me. Some people it may be 500, right? I don't like getting
Yeah.
to five. I do not like getting to $500 down on a trade. It bothers me. Um, yeah, and I don't talk about that a lot. So like taking a starter, I kind of work off that because I don't want to mess with my emotions, and I try to stop
Yeah.
loss 50% if it falls apart. Um, the last one it didn't work on was Piton. That really fell a little bit longer than I want, but it didn't kill me, and I trusted the setup to buy a little bit more. And I think I'm about even in that now, but yeah, don't play ERs.
Yeah. And I think
It's
setting it up like this, the only time that you're just going to get killed share side is if there's an offering or some biotech news, and we've been there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
The worst case scenario is you have to seriously, and it's a problem, and maybe some people it's in the back of their mind, not in the front of their mind. But I mean, you guys got to think about how long I've been fucking doing these Sunday sessions, getting up every day, 4 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. It's because that's when it's good, right? And a lot of people don't want to trade shares because they don't want to get up early. And you need to get up and check right when it opens, right? I mean, we don't have the Robin Hood days anymore, so pre-market's not as spicy as it used to be. But on the share side, you have that option, and I think a lot of people stay away from it because they're like, oh, I'll just wait. Like I can just go to the running water of option liquidity, and don't really want
right.
share side. But even in the worst environment, you just got to get up early. What do you do on options? You get up early and you watch and you go, oh, that's gonna open. Oh, there's another. Oh, it's still going down. I'm gonna have to sell this at open. Damn it.
Yeah, no, and yeah, option side, the worst is when you get a big. I had this happen with DWAC, crazy pre-market move, and then it bleeds out,
Yeah.
and then it's still good when it opens, but it's not, it's not 1,000% that it could have been if it kept that gain. So, but yeah, share side, you can just go ahead and sell some, so that's always good.
I mean, I'll snitch on myself a little bit here. I have totally sold some stuff early in the morning that ran a lot farther because my alarm went off and I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to sit there and think about it, so I
Yeah,
just sold it. Like I'm good. The last big one was and it was a while ago, but it was flipping huge. It was like I think it was a 5 figure. I could have had 5 figures more, but it was HUSA. I bought it on a Friday for like a dollar
oh yeah,
40,
yeah,
and I woke up and it was like I think it was like $2 or $3 when I woke up, and I was like, "Yep, I'm taking that," because it was just a shit market at the time too, and it ran to like 7. I was like, God dang it.
yeah. The my recently, on what I was talking about last week was that EOSE.
oh yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
That midweek read, I just, I grabbed a couple, a November and a January, and thinking anything close to a full share position, and that just went 60% after hours. So um, so yeah, it happens. You can miss some pretty big moves, but sticking to your rules overall, I think, is the way to go.
If was gonna put a stock on what I said 2 minutes ago about the stop loss stuff,
Mm-hmm.
EOS was a good example of me doing that because I did have a piece of that, but I did not have a big piece of it because I was kind of hanging out. Um,
Yeah,
but you still get like again, like you say, you get a piece of your work. Um, you get your sandwich,
yeah, that's what
you
it's
get
all
your
about.
DoorDash bill. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Hey, let's talk. Let's. I mean, unless you got something you want to run into first, I want to get on SPY just because we were hella
yeah,
wrong.
let's do it. Yeah.
We were hella wrong. This thing took off. Showed some strength. I did. I was hoping. I wasn't hoping, but I was anticipating an inside candle still. I mean, maybe a little bit of a 49, 48 test, but we ran
Yeah.
pretty hot. What happened over there?
Oh, I think it's just I thought that this trend might change, but it's hard to predict the trend change, and it's that data does not lead to selling right now, and I don't care what it is. Like
Yeah, yeah.
data would have to be so bad for selling to actually sustain itself right now, because the market just shrugs off anything mediocre and anything even mildly decent. It just takes off. And now SPY in particular, that exposure to oil and to some of the industrials really helped push things along this week, even as Nvidia was a little stagnant. So so yeah, I mean, I think that kind of was the story to me, that there is still a lot of optimism that what the Fed is doing is working.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out if it was a combination of people came back from summer, um, and wanted to get
Yeah,
in and wanted to get back in, and it looked good, or the jobs report. Unemployment is a good thing. I mean, I don't really know like you're saying, it's not really, you can't really pinpoint what it was. I think I said midweek. Um, are they feeling like they're handling like Ukraine might come to an end, right? Like because that's going to come into the market way before we hear about it.
yeah,
Like they'll be talking behind doors and buying stocks. Um, Good time to follow the guys that are in charge right now if you do that kind of thing. But for me, I just couldn't pinpoint a catalyst. And when I say 4 to 6 weeks, I didn't mean 5, but I would have probably, if you would have made me put a number down, I would have still stuck with 915, and as like that's kind of when the market's going to make a decision. But it's looking like we're going to run into that. So um, yeah, I don't know. I
yeah,
just
no,
I
definitely.
couldn't
And
pinpoint it.
I, for me, like you look back to when we started and the market was pretty bad, and so back then for me, it was about finding the flow that kind of stands out as being bullish within that environment. It's very much the opposite now, and I still mostly like to trade the upside, but like if you want to be a bear, you really have to target some individual names. I think trying to short the indices in like a swing or anything right now, very hard to time, problematic. The selling days just get bought right back up. So it's really, yes, it's difficult. It's difficult times to be bearish, I think. And that's not saying that, we're going to full send everything, because the names that are bearish, really popular ones to me, and just got to be careful with Tesla, Nvidia, and a couple of other ones.
Yeah, no, I think I said I was before the 4 to 6 weeks things. I said, we're kind of in the B's now, and the C's will be next, and I think we're still in that cycle. That hasn't changed. Where you had your
Yeah,
your best entry, um, they'll be offered again, but you're gonna have to wait. We talked privately about Tesla. What I think Tesla's gonna when that's gonna come back to us. Um,
yeah,
but like you kind of have to wait for that now. So and that's harder to buy in general. But then you're just a news trader, in my opinion, at that point in time. Write that down if you're thinking about that. The big thing I kind of sat on my mind is all week is last week I asked you if 460 was it right for the year, and you were kind of more on the side of probably not test it again.
yeah.
I gotta hear. I mean, we're never too far off, and I felt like we were a little off this week. So now I kind of want to revisit that and see how you feel now that we're $9 away from it after a week.
I For the year, I'm gonna stick with it that I don't think we get there anytime soon. That I think I'll revisit that in October maybe, but yeah, I just don't, just reading the flow, like not trying,
Sure,
take all my bias
100%,
out of it and all
100%.
that. The big thing that stands out to me flow wise is the like 915, 440 or so, and then October 430p as being a lot of, there's a lot of side there. So the near term stuff is really noisy and all that, but you have these tracks that stand out. All the open interest is still puts. Top 20 open interest SPY cracks are puts. Now, a lot of those are bid side, so they kind of create a floor and support as we move. But there aren't the aggressive out of the money players right now that are going to try to sustain anything. It's all short term. So I think we get pretty close to that 460, but I feel like we fall a little short. 57, 58, something like that, and then check back down, maybe back to 430.
Nice. No, I didn't think your chief thesis was gonna change, but I thought maybe you would have a more established floor, and you kind of do at 440, which is a little higher than I would suspect, but that would definitely be a higher low. So I like that. That's what you see. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we're just at a point
yeah. I
though
think
where
we check down to 430 or so. It's I don't think it's going to last very long. That's what I would say. But I do think those October 20th 430p, I think it's going to be a profitable trade. It's just a question of if they want to get out. If they want to roll that down, like if we get some real momentum down, then we could, they could get something going. But I could see them kind of moving out of that on the way down.
nice. So what do you got this week?
All right, let me see here. I'm going to say 456 on the top end and $4.45 on the bottom.
$4.45. Interesting. All right, let me check this candle right there. That's pretty tight. And that's 45. I want to go 53, 453. And I'm going to even go a little farther. I'm going to do what you normally do. I think that's Monday or Tuesday.
Nice.
And that's why.
Yeah.
And that's going to get, I think we do have PMI, and I know we talked about market not responding, but we have PMI Wednesday, and I don't think that's like going to drag the market down, but I think sectors are going to get picked apart and kind of keep it sideways a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
more of a pause. So I'm going to have a really tight range. I'm going to go 448. Which
Nice.
that's a tight range. I mean, that'd be a tight candle. So I'm just I think we get a tight candle this week. That's where I'm at. So I'm like, what? That's $5.
Yeah, those tight candles are rough on the option people. But yeah, I
Yeah,
could definitely see that happening.
yeah, and it just being. I mean, you might get a little spike, in and out of the range, but I think we're just gonna get one of these tighter candles. I got it. On the weekly, the one I'm pointing at. I think you get one of these this week, which kind of does keep it back inside bar. I just think we're gonna have momentum on Monday. I really feel that, or Tuesday. I keep saying Monday. We're gonna have momentum. It's just like the 3 day weekend thing, but then I just see
Yeah.
that bleeding away. Um, I'm still on the. I know I got a day and a half here. That crypto is gonna push a little over this weekend. We're at 26. Um, so that's still sitting there, right? That's still sitting kind of tight. But I just always see the pop in the fade. People
Uh,
come in, kind of clear out.
yeah, and so the anticipation for crypto is that that news is positive, that court cases are kind of going their way. It's not enough to really mean any of these moves, but you kind of just keep reloading, and then they pop off. And I think that's part of the small caps or so better, is that it's cheaper to front load those. Whales know that, so they're doing, and that's going to be a big topic in the next segment for us too, I think.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. No, I had three sectors wrote down, and I'm definitely just gonna save them for the next session because we are already kind of 37 in. You got anything you want to end on here?
But yeah, so let's I want to get into my futures update a bit. Build on last week. I had a couple of posts that aged really well. I said, steel and copper, just pick one, and copper just had a great finish to the week. Sitting at 385. This another test of 4 is kind of what I'm after. I stay bullish on copper anywhere between 375 and 4. If 375 breaks down and stays down, that would be bad. So keep an eye on that. A lot of room there. Just real quick on individual names, FCX is kind of the day trade name for me. You want anything longer term, that SCCO, look for my notes on that. But yeah, I really like copper. And oil, just here we are back at $85. This can go much further. I think it's a good time for oil to be in something and ready to move out, than it is for starters. There's a couple opportunities though that we'll talk about, but this could easily go highs like 92. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And natural gas. It's all about, can this move to $3 and hold it? Because this could have a pretty good fall and winter, get into the $4 or $5 range. So that's kind of a longer term thesis I'm looking at as well.
Well, you forgot one, at least for me. You gotta do the
Silver or gold?
no uranium. That's been
Uranium. Yeah, uranium. Uh, yeah, so uranium uh, that's sitting at $60 now. It was 50 a couple weeks ago. So yeah, just incredibly strong move there.
Where can that go
Still
to?
looks good on my end.
Where can that go to? Just
So
out of curiosity.
I would say the kind of the obvious test is around 72.
Okay.
That's a previous high. So we got quite a lot of range to that still.
Right, yeah, those charts worked out well. The oil too, but I kind of slept on those. I really wish I would have bought Gush when we were talking at 100 because it went 160 and then reverse split. Um, or excuse me, yeah, reverse split. But the uranium charts I did get a piece of, and they just kind of slowly crept up. It was nice. It was nice to play something that was just had a nice trend through that 4 to 6 week thesis. And
Yeah, they were great, and that was one where the read for me actually came from CCJ, but that wasn't the one I traded just because the U's just had so much more room from under 6, now 724.
If you're interested in what we do, Professor finds this boring, methodical, data-driven edge, and then we find a sector, and then I find a chart that's beat up or has the most possibility for range. He checks again to make sure the flow's okay on that, and then we just trade that one.
Yep.
That's it in a nutshell. So
yeah,
just kind of weed through things for boring stocks. Because that's why I never played like oil, because they're boring as shit to do whatever the hell you do to read it all this and barrels per month and all this crap. Much rather do EV deliveries. And then there's so many of them, right? There's like a ton of them. Like, and you got to figure out, like, I would have never found rig. Are you kidding me? Awesome. You ready to get to work?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.